Our Lady of the Angels School Fire, Rio Rogalski, Chad Cooley, and Dennis Childs. There are many fires that have greatly influenced the fire service, most of which are now referenced in classes of future firefighters in remembrance of the destruction and lives lost in their week. Fires are caused by three things: men, women, and children. There are instances where nature on its own sets civilizations ablaze, but more often than not are fueled further by human trial and error. The fire service is constantly updating protocol and fire codes because education never ends as a first responder. After a fire that causes casualty or destruction, fire departments investigate to get to the bottom of what happened, why it happened, why there were casualties or destruction, and whether those casualties and destruction could have been prevented or not. Then departments take those findings as a learning opportunity and try to make it so those situations are not repeated.
Brings back a lot of old memories.
Sergio said it was just 12 years old when it happened.
The only way out was through the windows because the fire had pretty much come up and there was no way to get out in the hallway.
But looking on at the site of the fire, at Our Lady of Angels, where his old school once stood, he remembers it all.
I mean, you have no choice behind you because everybody behind you is screaming and pushing because they're trying to get out. And you just got to do whatever you can do to get out. And, I made it down, and when I came down, other kids were jumping. I mean, you're sitting here looking at kids screaming, jumping out the window.
92 children and 3 nuns were killed in the tragedy seen around the world.
There was a famous photograph of a little boy, John Jakowski, with the firemen bringing him out.
This is that iconic photo. Steve Lasker on the scene as firefighters arrived, capturing the anguish and suffering with every click.
First of all, I froze. I don't know for how long. I'd never seen anything like that before, with children jumping out of windows. Firemen start carrying down children and the nuns that had perished. My heart just sunk to the floor. It was a terrible, terrible thing.
It's a memory that will haunt him forever, but the pain and loss transformed school safety for the better.
This tragedy changed the complete structure of schools all over the nation, if not the world.
The improved regulations, building codes for schools, fire doors, sprinklers, preparation, and fire drills really changed quite a bit after that.
In Humboldt Park, Mark Rivera, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Hey, if you like that video, be sure. There are 2,700 robocalls.
A prime example of a real learning experience for firefighters and fire prevention protocols was when Our Lady of the Angels Elementary School burnt beyond recognition, claiming the lives of 92 students and 3 faculty members. Investigations after the fire determined that the school's fire protection system was inadequate and resulted in many of the national fire codes governing schools being drastically overhauled. Our Lady of the Angels Catholic School fire occurred at Humboldt Park, Chicago, Illinois on December 1, 1958. The fire was believed to have started sometime between 2 and 2:20 p.m. in a cardboard trash barrel in the basement of the school. The fire went undetected for at least 15 minutes, letting the noxious gas and hot smoke make its way up the northeast stairwell while the smoke was building. A window broke, causing an endless supply of oxygen inside to fuel the fire, igniting the stairwell. The big, thick wooden doors on the first level landing did its job of keeping the heat and fire out of the hallway, but the second level landing did not have the same doors that the first level had. This caused the fire and the heat to roam the second floor hallway. As the fire was climbing the stairway, a pipe chase running from the basement to the cock loft above the second floor ceiling gave the superheated gases a direct route to the attic, where the temperature rapidly rose higher and higher until finally reached ignition temperature. Before the students and teachers were even aware that there was a fire, the flames had already swept through the halls of the second floor. The school had a total of 1,600 students in kindergarten through 8th grade. 329 of those students were stuck on the second floor, along with 5 teaching nuns. The primary fire escape was inaccessible due to the flames taking over the hallway, so the only means of escape for the trapped students and nuns were the windows that had concrete and crushed rocks 25 feet below. Some students decided to jump from the windows to escape the inferno, while some simply fell or were pushed. Those who took that escape route were severely injured or died on impact. The first squad arrived on scene 4 minutes after being notified, but they were sent to the wrong location, increasing the response time. More than 200 firefighters from 22 engine companies, 7 ladder companies, and 10 squad companies responded to the fire. They managed to rescue more than 160 children from the burning school, but could not save them all. 87 children and 3 nuns died on December 1st, 1958 as a result of the Our Lady of the Angels fire. 3 more critically injured children died before Christmas, followed by 2 more in 1959. The last one on August 9. In the end, 92 children and 3 nuns perished, bringing the total to 95 deaths. Although the cause has never been officially determined, all indications point to arson. According to the Chicago Tribune, a 10-year-old boy confessed to starting the fire and other fires in the neighborhood, but he was never prosecuted and the cause of the fire remains undetermined. After the fire was controlled and put out, the investigations began. The school was legally in compliance with the fire safety laws of the time, but they were severely unprepared for any kind of fire. The building was 2 stories with a basement. The exterior of the building was brick, but the inner walls and roof were made of wood. There was only one fire escape, no sprinklers, no automatic fire alarm, no smoke or heat detectors, no alarm connected to the fire department, no fire-resistant stairwells, and no fire-safe doors from the stairwells to the second floor. If one of these safety precautions had been enforced, maybe less would have died. Maybe if there were heat and smoke detectors on every level, students and faculty would have been aware of the fire much sooner, or, if there were fire sprinklers, the fire could have been contained to the basement and not make its way to the rest of the building. The National Fire Protection Association rewrote its provisions for schools, revising the exit standards, and also requiring that schools be outfitted with sprinklers. Stricter codes were also enacted regarding the quality of building materials, with concrete soon replacing wood and plaster in schools throughout the country. Today, schools are vigilant when it comes to their students being aware of fire safety. Fire drills are conducted monthly because the big takeaway from the OLA fire was that fire prevention is the real solution to fire deaths. The ruins of the school were dismantled in 1959 and a new Our Lady of the Angels School located at 3814 West Iowa Street was constructed in compliance with the latest required fire safety standards, such as installing a sprinkler system. The modern 3-story building with 32 classrooms plus a kindergarten opened in September 1960. Donations from around the world helped to fund the new construction. As a result of a steady decline in enrollment during the 1990s, the Archdiocese of Chicago closed the school after the class of 1999 graduated. The Archdiocese had previously closed the other buildings of the parish in 1990 and merged OLA with the parish of St. Francis Assisi. The building now houses the Galapagos Charter School. The mission of Our Lady of Angels Church next door remains in operation.